And we are live on Oran Poppy's Facebook page. It's a good morning to you and a happy Friday. I wanted to say a very intense happy Friday, but not on our side. There by the rock, where we are telling up things that are concerning foods. But here we are voting for PrEP. Welcome to it. Welcome to the launch of Warm on PrEP. This is our online launch as we set the teams up to launch for their side across the country. Make sure that you are out and about and in the lookout for that. And this year for Warm on PrEP, we are saying either or it works. We are looking at daily PrEP and ED PrEP, and we are talking about both, and actually really saying that either you choose the daily PrEP or ED PrEP, it definitely works. And I've brought the big guns for this conversation. But hey, look at me going on and on without introducing myself. My name is Nkosi, and I'm your host behind the scenes, making sure that you are sounding and you are looking like the way we are looking, glowing. It's Happy Phaleng, and helping us dissect this particular online launch. We have from INN Tshwane, our clinician who is our resident as well. It is Bonolo, Legwete. Good morning.
Morning, V.
How are you? Great, great. And also, they are from the corner of the airport. I'm trying jokes. Yes. Okay. It is our intervention facilitator, who's also not a stranger to the platform. It is Benni, Nogqala. Benni, good morning.
Morning, Thea.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great. Thank you so much for traveling all the way to Kempton Park and leaving the airport.
Thank you.
Did you fly here?
I wish I could, but there weren't any flights at the moment.
Okay.
So I just had to drive.
Okay, thank you so much for coming. And also, another person who's no stranger to the platform, we've probably had them for, if I'm counting, this would be the 100th time. They are our counselor all the way from INN Tshwane, or courtesy of INN Tshwane, and is Bambatha. Ben, good morning.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm alive. How are you?
I'm alive too. And also in the team and making their first debut right here on the launch. It is a clinician all the way from INN It is it's Bathini, Tshika. Bathini, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for making time. Lady, gentlemen, really appreciate it. Let's jump straight into it. But if you want to be part of the conversation, in understanding we always have the conversations around PrEP. Our clinical Mondays are filled with them. Our website on www.poppin.org, which you can visit, has a PrEP library that is filled with information when it comes to all things PrEP and ED PrEP. We have cartoons on our social media platforms. We are at @n_ on X with the hashtag, Clinical Monday, or for this particular launch, you can hashtag Warm on PrEP, either or it works. Also on our Facebook page, even YouTube, even TikTok. We are everywhere basically, so there's no excuse for you to not, inform yourself when it comes to all things HIV and PrEP. But for this particular conversation, like I said, we've always been talking about PrEP, but Bathini, somebody out there might not, even know what PrEP is. What is PrEP, and take us through how many kinds or types of PrEP we have?
All right, thank you, V. So PrEP, it stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis.
Yeah.
So it prevents HIV. So currently we have two.
Yeah.
The other one is daily PrEP, and then the other one is ED PrEP, which stands for event-driven, which we'll explain later on.
Yeah.
And then the third one is still on a clinical trial, which is injectable. So currently we only have two.
And those are the two that are for the public. Anyone who wants to be on PrEP can get on PrEP.
Yes.
Let's talk about how effective is it. People would, question, the efficacy of it, maybe because they're a little bit skeptical about it, or they don't want to use it. How effective is PrEP?
It's very, very active. It's very effective. Sorry. Works for like 99% according to CDC. So 99% that is very.
99% is a lot, guys. I think for me, if it were to me, everybody would be on PrEP. Bonolo, let's talk about how well does ED PrEP work. Bathini gave us the sort of three kinds. But let's focus more on ED, because we're trying to say, like I said, either or it works. But how well does ED PrEP work?
Well, ED PrEP works as well as we take it. If you take it as you're supposed to, like it says in the explanation, in the name, 211.
Yeah.
So if you do it accordingly as prescribed, it works 99%. But if you don't do it like that, then
It's a problem.
Yeah.
So you need to adhere to it. Let's talk about the attitude in terms of the community, Benni. What is the attitude out there when it comes to all things PrEP? Especially now that in South Africa, well, as Poppy, we've sort of like introduced, I think it's been a year and a half now, we've sort of like introduced PrEP. What is the attitude like in the communities?
The attitude, thank you for the question. The attitude with regards to PrEP within the community that I'm seeing a slight increase in the youth that are being active in PrEP.
Yeah.
So when I speak of the youth, I'm speaking of people that are from 18 to, let's say, most at 30. So they are the ones that are mostly interested in PrEP. They are the ones that are interested in taking their HIV status seriously, and mostly in females. So with the older males, you always have to convince them into getting onto PrEP and explaining to them what PrEP is and how it protects them from HIV.
Yeah.
With the youth, because they are more sexually active,
Yeah.
they are more inclined to taking the PrEP and they are more interested in finding out about PrEP.
And I think when interestingly, the youth would think that they should be the ones that are more, and I mean, it could be from both male and female that are taking PrEP or are interested in PrEP, and with the older generation, you need to do some convincing. And I think we need to sort of like put a drive and speak about men's health, and focus the spotlight on healthy living for men. Because I mean, if you are taking your PrEP, you are really taking care of your health, and we should have those conversations. But the conversation that I'm interested in, Ben, is the benefits. The youth looks like they know about it. I mean, if we see a great turnout, they know about the benefits. Take us through the benefits of, I don't want to say ET PrEP, but PrEP in general.
Okay, thank you for the question. I think PrEP is beneficiary based on like sexual behaviors and how people behave, right?
Yeah.
So let's touch on like daily PrEP, right?
Yeah.
So daily PrEP, you are protected or on the day,
Yeah.
right? So anything that may occur on the day, you are protected, right? Because you're taking it continuously. So ED PrEP, more beneficial for those who have people and for those who can organize, because you only take it per session. So it benefits like in both.
Got you. I got you. I like you taking in position. I want you, because you sort of like give us how effective it is, to sort of like give us the 2-1-1, but we'll come to that question later to sort of like see. So the benefits are there. Are we using it because of the benefits, or are we running to it because of the effectiveness? That was just my question. What do you think? Do you think we are taking it because of the benefits, or we are taking it because of and effectiveness also is one of those benefits?
I think we take it for the benefits.
Yeah.
Right? Because of, like for someone who doesn't engage more on like sex. It's beneficiary for them because they only can take it whenever they are busy.
I got you.
And then there's somebody who knows so they're very, very busy. And they're taking it daily, right? So taking it daily, something might happen via night. So you might not be able to drink it like now, right? So it's beneficiary for different behavior.
I got you. We are inviting your questions for this conversation. Like I said, on X, we are at @in_health with the hashtag either or it works. We are launching War on PrEP for 2024-2025. And it's quite exciting for this one. I cannot wait to see what the team, actually how you take these events that we'll be having, all these physical launches that we'll be having physically in different sites. You can be part of them. Also find us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we're at @orampop, and we're inviting your questions. We have some of your few questions, but before I get to them, because I mean somebody's asking about if it affects their libido, if taking PrEP makes them have harder erections, and so we'll get to those questions, but let's just continue with the conversation. Bathini, I'm going to take it back to you. You spoke about how effective it is. How long then does it take for PrEP to be effective? You say it's 99, but is it a 99 immediately as I take it, or it has to gradually grow over time?
Okay, so basically, if you try to take like 2 tablets before 2 hours, from then you can start engaging. So as I said, especially with the ED, so you normally do the 2-1-1, which I'm sure Bonolo will explain later. So it's the 2-1-1. So we say, please just try to make sure that you take it at least 2 hours before engaging in intercourse. Same as daily. When you start, even though you'll be taking it throughout, but if on the first day, just try to take it 2 hours, then continue with your 1 day after. So 2 hours.
The trick is 2 hours.
The trick is 2 hours.
The trick is 2 hours. Bonolo, the 2-1-1. I wanted to ask it later, but break it down to us. How does it work? So it's two hours before, and then after what?
Okay. So just to add on what my colleague just said now, the trick is 2 hours, provided that you do 2 tablets when you start.
Got you.
If you take one, then the 2 hours doesn't apply. It also depends on your, I wouldn't say sexuality, I would say sex. For females, it's that one pill, it takes about 7 days, whereas for males, male on male, and it takes 2 hours.
Got you.
So that's another thing that we need to consider. So now breaking down the 2-1-1, what we say is that you take your first 2 tablets at least 2 hours before. It can be more because you also have to consider the fact that you have to take your next pill that you have to take 24 hours after your first 2 at a constant time.
Got you.
So you also have to look at your days and how busy your days get so that you are able to take your next dose in time.
Yeah.
So 2 hours is the minimum, but it can be up to whatever hours that you prefer, but not more than 24 hours.
Got you.
Okay. So let's say I take my first 2 pills at 8 p.m. At 10 p.m. the PrEP is fully effective. I can do whatever that I'm going to do today. Then tomorrow at 8 p.m. exactly as I did when I took my first pills, you're supposed to take your second dose and you take your last dose after 24 hours again. So it's 2 today, 2 the next day, 2 today, 1 the next day, 1 the day after.
So if it's a Friday, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Provided that you only had sex on Friday.
Hey, now that's where it gets interesting. Now I want to continue. Then what happens if I took, let's say I had the sex on Friday, then what happens if I continue having the sex?
So let's say that you want to have a wild weekend. You want to take it
Wink,
through
wink.
the whole weekend. So you're going to take it on 2 tablets on Friday. You're going to do whatever you do. You take your next tablet on Saturday. Probably do whatever you do, and then maybe that's it. On Sunday, you take your 1 pill. Then you take your other 4th one on Monday.
Got you.
So what we're saying is you need to be on PrEP in that 72 hours after your last sexual encounter.
Got you.
Because HIV can actually survive in a human body for about 72 hours. So you need to be covered for that period.
I've got you. Which is very interesting. I hope you sort of got the gist of what PrEP is and how does it work. I want to speak about initiations. How many times can I be initiated? Because most often than not, most of us are initiated. But you're like, I'm not getting any action. I'm not really having a wild weekend. How many times can I come and say, hey, Bonolo, please initiate me on PrEP?
Well, I think when they brought up the ED PrEP idea was because they realized that a lot of people would stop taking daily PrEP because they don't really need it. Because another thing that qualifies a person to take PrEP is you take it if you want to take it.
Yeah.
You don't actually have to say, no, I'm a sex worker, or no,
Got
if you feel like you want to take it, then you can, because it's a prevention measure.
Yeah.
It's not like you have a chronic illness of some
Got
sort.
you.
So you can actually get initiated on PrEP as many times as you can, provided that whenever that you start the PrEP, you do it as you're supposed to be doing it.
I've got you.
That's why it comes that when you come to the clinic, especially if you attend one clinic, it will be easy for the clinician to say, you know what, because you have interrupted your PrEP so many times for those reasons that you have, how about we put you on this one? Because this one doesn't, the ED one, doesn't require you to be on PrEP on a daily.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. It's quite interesting. And I want to say, is it safe then, if I'm initiated several times and I provide these reasons, is it safe for me to be initiated all the time? Like, I come and I'm initiated and then I leave. Next month I come and I'm initiated and then I leave. Even if you put me on ED PrEP, I come and I'm like, I forgot. It doesn't matter how many times I'm initiated as long as I'm initiated.
Well, in as much as you have every right to decide about your health matters, but the clinician also has the I wouldn't say right, but they can also refuse to put you on PrEP if you're not consistent. Because we also need to consider that PrEP is ARV. It's the same drugs that they are going to give you if it happens that you get HIV at some point. And if you keep interrupting, it might put you at risk of being resistant to the ARVs, and if it happens that you are HIV positive, they might not work. So with the nurse's discretion and putting your health also into consideration, it might come to a point where the nurse is like, no, this is not for you, because the risks outweighs the benefits.
I got you. Ben, for us to not sort of have people being initiated all the time, and then we think, on outreach you get a lot of people that come and want to get PrEP, or they're sort of like, I was here the last time, you gave me, but I want it again, and then they run the risk of being initiated all the time. Also the risk, but they want to be initiated all the time. How many times do you guys sort of like revisit the clients who are on PrEP, or what is then, I want to say, the method, or what do you do to make sure that the client that you found on outreach or in the community sticks or stays on PrEP, or how many times do you then visit them to sort of like remind them that, hey, Brian, you need to.
So firstly, from the initiating day, so the nurse will give our clients like the follow-up day, right? So we do have the case manager, right? The case manager needs to give them a call, just to check, do they still have another supply? Because we normally tell them after maybe you're left with 6, just call the clinic. But we're also going to call you back just to check up on you, right? So you need to come, and then we do a retest to make sure it's still negative, right? Then you're going to get the next follow-up date.
Got you.
So it's the follow-up date visits the our case manager to see the retention.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah.
Then what informs the visit? I mean, what informs the team to go into a specific area? We learn about hotspots and stuff. What informs us to say, Soshanguve block X is a hotspot for PrEP? What take us through that process?
Okay. So for us to declare an area is a hotspot, right? So there is a criteria that I personally manage. Right? So it's through conversations.
Got you.
So whenever you're having a conversation, you analyze how people behave, right? So you hear people talking about like the big weekend that is coming. Like
weekend tenku.
I'll give you 2 sums. Somebody sleeping with somebody, how communities.
Got you.
That's where you see like here this is a hospital because like somebody slept with somebody. Somebody's telling you how he's able to sleep with 4 or 5 people. There's sex parties in somebody's house.
Got you.
That's where we see like these people are at high risk. They are behaving. It's very risky. So we do interventions. We go there, talk about PrEP, and then put them on PrEP because of they really need it based on the behavior of the community.
Got you. And that's quite important. I mean, you're having conversations with these people, and they're literally telling you their lives, sort of activities on a daily or on a weekend basis. I mean, depending on how you look at it. Benni, let's talk about the challenges of adherence. The bands, they go into the community, they see that PrEP, they introduce it. Now people are taking it. Goes back to what I asked Bonolo. Then somebody does not adhere, they want to go back to be reinitiated. What are some of these challenges that you think make it difficult for people to adhere?
So what I think is mostly one of the reasons why people do not adhere to it is the pill burden. So which is why I'm happy for the injectable that is in trial phase, because it would release the pill burden from people to now adhere to PrEP.
Got you.
So mainly it's pill burden. You find out they say that when I have to take a tablet every single day, or I have to take a tablet when I am sexually active. Another thing that is normally a problem when it comes to adherence is now how far do you need to travel to get the medication? So you live in Mamelodi and your PrEP facility is in Nogqala. You see now the distance becomes a little bit too much. So this is where now we as the outreach team meet the client halfway, where instead of you coming to the clinic, we try and go to you so that we can be able to offer you the services of being followed up on your PrEP.
Yeah, I got you. I want to ask then, how do you introduce it? I think that should have been my first question. How do you then introduce PrEP into the community? I like what Ben says. So that's an approach that they use because of word of mouth, I guess, maybe also an ear on the ground. But then how is it introduced? Is it outreach? Is it activities? Is it social? How is PrEP introduced into such communities?
So how we normally do introduce PrEP into such communities is we have a model called an empowerment group, where we have sessions where we sit with people of our key populations, and then we inform them on the behaviors and the risks of their behaviors. Because we also need to understand that people's risks and behaviors will not change. So what we need to now change is the decisions they make in their behaviors, right? So we educate them based on their risk behaviors and what their options are. So that's how we now introduce the PrEP to the people. And then you tell them the truth about their sexual lives. And then another strategy that I like using is that, think of it as swallowing a condom, basically. That's what I always say. Just think of it as swallowing a condom. When they are resistant, just say, think of it as swallowing a condom. No, it's not a condom. Doesn't protect you from any other STI.
Yeah,
but at least you are protected from HIV.
Yeah.
Think of it as swallowing a condom.
It goes back to your 99.1 because I was like, Mina always say the one maybe is for other things like your STIs, and then because it doesn't protect you from the STI. So I sort of like that that strategy. And then you introduce it, and then obviously we think retention, and then we think adherence. Because we want people's lives to be changed. I want us to take you to the actual question that I don't know how many times do I have technical producer will signal to me how many times I have or how much time I have. How much time I have before we wrap it up for us to squeeze in just one or two extra questions. These are the questions that I've gotten from you. I'll take it back to Bonolo. No, let's take it. Okay, let's talk about. Then I'll take it to Bathini. Let's talk about the tracking. So Ben goes, identifies, sees that there's a risky behavior. Benni, they come, they introduce it on outreach with M groups and. Then we want to see retention. They go visit. There's case manager. It's a multidisciplinary, stuff that really, focuses on cases after they find on the community. But how do we track it? So what's the track? Like, how do you track if the person is doing okay, when they should come back, things and stuff like that? Yeah.
So, in nursing, we usually say, what is not written is not done. So, we actually open a file for you. Even when we see people during outreach, we open a file for you. So, everything that we do with you is also recorded in your clinical file.
Got you.
So, we actually have a PrEP form. So, which informs us on how far you have been on PrEP and what is the next step. So I'll just try to summarize. So we initiated today, depending on how old you are, we run some tests.
Yeah.
So usually we do a baseline blood, which includes your kidney functions. We also do hepatitis B and syphilis screening tests because syphilis, unlike any other STI, can go undetected for quite some time. Even though the counselors would do STI screening for us to check for gonorrhea, chlamydia, and the likes, we also go to that extra to make sure that we are safe. And then after that, for everybody else, after the first month that we initiate you on PrEP, we do your blood. We want to see if the PrEP that you're taking in is very filtered out.
Yeah.
So you're mostly interested in the kidneys. We want to see your kidney functions, the filtration rate, and the creatinine. It's commonly used by people who go to the gym. They take the creatinine powders and stuff.
Yeah.
So you want to see if your body is able to filter out the creatinine, and if your kidneys are strong enough to actually filter it out. So if we find that at some point your kidneys are struggling, it's an indication for us to say, no, we need to stop this person from. So it's either it doesn't mean that you stop forever. At some point, in most cases, we drink beer, we don't drink water. So we need to make sure that you are well hydrated. Because under normal circumstances, we're supposed to drink 2 liters, 3 liters of water a day. And that's a story for another. So those are the things we check for. And we also make sure PrEP is for HIV negative people. So you have to get your HIV test done every time you get it. So it's 1 month supply when you start. Thereafter, it's going to be 3 months with relevant blood tests when it's necessary.
And I mean, you touched on my question. My other question for you is, which was on what would have happened, if a client was on PrEP and then they're HIV positive, and also you touched on what then informs the stopping or the continuing of a client on PrEP. And thank you so much for that, Bathini. Then should be a combination approach when it comes to prevention. Benni spoke about swallowing a condom. So a condom must not quite literally take PrEP, you're swallowing a condom, but a condom needs to be used, because it becomes a complementary prevention method.
So you still have to use condoms. Yeah, so as much as PrEP helps you not to get HIV, but then remember we still have STIs, we still have unwanted pregnancy. So PrEP doesn't help you there. So we encourage all our clients to continue using the drug protection, which includes the condom as well. you don't only swallow it, but you also have to use a physical one.
I got you.
Yeah, so
Got
just to avoid such things, and especially with the youth, like unwanted pregnancy, STI.
Got you. I want us to take it 2 extra questions, one, and we will wrap it up. Let's see. This one says, how much is PrEP and can I buy it? Let's take this to Ben. Do you know how much PrEP is, or if this person can buy the PrEP?
So from what am I doing?
Yeah.
Other NGOs.
Yeah.
That are in the marketplace. Not only NGOs.
Yeah. Got you.
I have here clicks that we have it.
Yeah.
Something like what happened.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like it's for free.
Why buy it when it's for free, right? Got you. Thanks, Ben. Okay, does PrEP affect my libido and erection? We'll take it to both.
Take that one.
Okay. Bathini?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
You work as normal.
Got you. If you were thinking that it is a, I don't want to think that local. That's why I don't want to give them free advertising, but no, it's not. So how long does the side effects last, and what should I do if they are continuous?
Okay, so PrEP, it's a pill.
Yeah.
Side effects are not new. It's like your normal side effects that you would get with any other pill. Nothing hectic. Your nausea, slight headedness, it's nothing major, because most of our clients would come and say, I had a few side effects, but they didn't affect my daily activities.
Yeah.
So it happens for a couple of days, for a couple of minutes, or less than an hour, so you can actually get on with your day.
Yeah.
If though some side effects are undocumented, because things change all the time and our bodies react differently to things. So we intervene in side effects as they come. So we normally encourage our clients, if you're having something that you think is related to the PrEP, come back to the facility or give us a call, because we provide them with cell phone numbers of the case facility. Give us a call, WhatsApp us, we'll help with whatever we can.
Got you. Okay, thank you for that. Other side effects of daily PrEP, the same as ED PrEP, I think. Sort of like touch on that, but more or less the same, right? As a TGW, can I take ED PrEP, and does it affect my hormones if I'm reinitiated on PrEP? Let's talk about reinitiation, but yeah, go ahead.
Okay. For someone who is on hormones, unfortunately, they do not qualify to take ED PrEP. They only qualify to take the daily PrEP.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, take this to Benny. Can I share my PrEP with my partner?
Can you share your PrEP with your partner?
Yeah.
Do you know your partner's HIV status? So
That's there.
you need to be negative in order to be on PrEP. So what if you don't know your partner's status?
I got you.
And then you just get the PrEP. Rather get your own bottle, keep your own bottle, manage your own bottle, tell your partner to get their own bottle.
It's free, guys. You need to get your own bottle. My partner doesn't want us to use a condom. Are we still safe? Just taking PrEP. I think we've sort of like answered this one. But you wanna take a look at it again. Their partner is HIV positive. Their partner doesn't want to use condoms, but do we think that they are still safe by using PrEP? Right. The question is, their partner does not want them to use a condom, but they are using PrEP. So are they still safe by just using PrEP only? That's the question.
I think it goes back to what I said earlier.
Yeah.
And we mostly encourage people to do the
Dual protection.
And you just said now, you don't know your partner's status. You don't know what they did last night. So it's always better to use the dual protection.
Got you. 2 last questions, then we wrap it up. Can we switch from daily to ED? I think we can.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. What happens if I miss a dose?
I think it's fine. You can continue, and then we go back to starting with 2, 1, 1. If maybe you know that you're going to be active the following day, maybe you miss today, and then tomorrow someone comes. So it's preferable that you just add the loading dose.
Got you. The 2, 1, 1. But on daily, I remember now what happens.
So,
Yes.
so what happens with any other pill is that the rule is If you forget to take your pill, take it as soon as you remember, as long as it means you're not taking 2 doses.
Aha, got you. Tricky.
So if you forget your pill at 8 a.m. and you only remember at 10, you take it at 10. As soon as you remember, you take it. Right? So here's the tricky part. You had sex last night and you forget to take your pill. So now that 99.1% is
questionable.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Yeah, so we advise our clients, get an alarm so we can remind you so we don't have such situations.
Got you. But even in those such situations, do I come back and say, I missed my dose and I had sex yesterday? And
Yeah, usually we encourage them, if you're unsure, call us.
Yeah.
Come to us and we'll advise.
I got you. Thank you so much, man, for joining us. Well, no, closing question. Either or doesn't work. I mean, either or definitely does work. I think we can conclude. Whether you take daily or you take ED, definitely it works. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me for this chat. I really appreciate your questions as well. Please keep them coming on our frequently asked questions on our website, which is www.popn.org. Also, you can slide in our DMs. We're on IG, it is at popn. Also on X, it is at @n_health. On Facebook, we're at OraPopN. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel and catch this conversation and many others. It is at OraPopN. And with that said, man, I cannot wait to see you out there making sure you are taking care of your health and being on PrEP and joining us for some of the biggest launches. I think Egunlene's launch, I'm putting on the 30th or the 15th is coming up. So we are going to, I don't know where, but in Egunlene, we might fly there. Jokes. Because we're in Campton. Okay, you get the joke. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, happy streaming. Bye.
Bye.